like to elaborate on a thought I've been having more and more recently. That actually came up again recently, most recently, a study of Jeremiah in Jeremiah 43. I'm going to quote it again later, but I have it written down here somewhere. In Jeremiah 42, whatever God says, God tells them Egypt, they say no. Right? That's the thing that has made this actually come up for me most recently, and I'll get to why in a moment. But the topic is justice, and I've said before, justice doesn't belong to that sort of in passing, and I'd like to explore that concept a little bit further. And the reason I want to explore it right now, extremely briefly, we had court today with the children, and if ever there was a reminder that society is a dumpster fire sitting in a collapsing building on a burning ship, you know, it was just, and I'm not just talking about people, I mean the system as a whole. It really, you know, I thought I was prepared, and I was. Excuse me. So that reminded me a little bit about this concept that I've been mulling over, that justice does not belong to man. It is true that we try to administer justice, but we didn't invent it, obviously, and that puts us at a bit of a disadvantage already. And I'm beginning to realize, and it's taken me forever, and maybe this was a bolt of lightning for everybody when they were 11, but I missed it somehow. We, like we would take society, takes a concept like marriage or family or love, and screws around with it and spews out something totally different. I've never put justice in that category, and I think I should. We take something that's good, that's been created by God, and we mess it up. That's the point I'm trying to get at here. So, some reasons I think this is the case. I'm just going to list them here. 1, man's justice is flawed because our knowledge is limited. We cannot read hearts. Okay, so sometimes you'll see the question, if you had a superpower, what would you want it to be? My go-to answer for this is always, I wish I could read man's hearts. We cannot read hearts. We can judge fruit. That is what we are able to do. At the same time, God doesn't have this problem because he can judge hearts. There's no fact that can hide from him. When you think of anybody that's ever tried, most memorably Jonah, but there's many other instances, we recognize that God isn't in a situation where he doesn't know the facts. He always knows the facts. Romans 12:19. So it's been sitting here this whole time, and I've never thought about it real hard. Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. And I think one of the reasons this is important is because I've always looked at this verse and thought, well, I'm in such a situation where my vengeance, or what I think of as justice, is impurely motivated, and that could be the case. I'm not denying that would apply here, but it also could be that I'm wrong. Yeah, and I'd never thought about it before, that what this verse could be saying is, never avenge yourself, because you might be wrong. You might be inaccurately thinking about what's going on here. You could be just downright incorrect, in which case you are meting out an injustice, and you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So don't do it. This is important because it changes our expectations of what society can do for us. And it reminds us that ultimate authority is determined. To determine the morality of a behavior comes from God. It keeps us in our place. As we were leaving, I thought, this also changes how we discipline our children. You know, and I'm starting to realize that as much as when I go upstairs when somebody's been yelling and I look at a face and I'm 99% sure I know, but I didn't see it happen, I'm starting to be more inclined to leave it alone. For better or worse, I'd rather have the children learn that they can pull something over my eyes than that I am unjust. If I have to pick one, that's the one. So, second reason, man's justice is flawed because it is necessarily delayed. It cannot happen immediately. Because man cannot know it all, it takes time to determine what is true. So in court today, nobody learned anything. Nobody learned anything at all. 6 lawyers and a judge. Nobody learned anything. Stuff is delayed 2 weeks. Stuff has been delayed 8 months. 2 weeks is going to come and go. Nothing. You know, it takes forever for every single step of this process to occur for them to be sure that they are in proper understanding of the facts. And even then, they can't know. Absolutely. It's just their best attempt, right? Because the process takes time, justice is delayed, and that of itself is injustice. However, God knows and sees everything, and so justice is instant, or as instant as God chooses, right? He judges in the present. Yes, the judgment day is coming and all that, but that's the point at which those things catch up with us. In the meantime, God sees, God knows, and God is able to determine the truth in a particular situation. So, his ability to judge exists right now. Why is this important? It is important because it reminds us that we get away with absolutely nothing. Okay? What looks to us like a delay in justice or even injustice is actually God deciding when he is going to mete out the discipline for the judgment that he is able to make at any point. And so I'll say now, right? So, recognize the fact that we get away with nothing. Others that we think are getting away with something, they're not getting away with anything. This is not delayed justice. This is God in his time. He is patient with us all. Thank God for the time. Job 12:22 says, he reveals the deep things of darkness and brings utter darkness into light. And we know this was said at a time when Job was trying to figure out what on earth was going on to him. It was not made clear at that moment, but it would be made clear eventually. We need to remember that God is in control of that. Third reason, man's justice is flawed because our law is flawed. This one I could go on forever, very easily. It's not difficult. Our standard of right and wrong changes with our sensibilities. Who do we ask to hit a moving target? You know, and this one really gets me sometimes. I made a list of things that in a generation, just off the top of my head, maybe not here, but in other places I know, have gone from legal to illegal in a generation. Requiring an employee. Okay, that was legal when I started working. It's not anymore. Disciplining a in certain situations. Referring to a man as he, if he doesn't want to be. Collecting water off of your roof in a barrel. Offering a plastic straw to a customer before the customer has asked for one. This just happened in California. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Okay, you can be fined. You know, you're sitting there, you know, in your spare time rooting for $15 an hour from the government, and the rest of the time making $12.50. Okay, and you're in there, and then you offer a plastic straw, and the government will fine you $500 for 3 months. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. You know, whether, you know, so that I think that law is without its merits. However, the principle, no matter what the law, is the same. This was legal, and now it's not. Buying unpasteurized milk, changing market value for an apartment, you know, rent control, that kind of thing. In a generation, the following has gone from illegal to legal: abortion, state-sponsored gambling. State-sponsored, you know, the lottery is so bad that even the liberals are starting to have a problem with it. John Oliver had a thing the other day about how horrible, you know, I mean, drug use, sodomy, you know, the list goes on. These are things that, you know, there was a law one way and now it's swapped. So pick your time. Pick your societal attitude to decide whether or not you're in violation of the law. How are you supposed to mete out justice then? Right? God's expectations, however, have not changed. His moral law for us remains the same. So why is this important? Thank God that he is your judge. And tremble in fear of the other points I've already made, because he is your judge. But because you're sitting here trying to do the right things, and God's not going to change his mind about what those are. One way or the other, he's not going to make good bad or bad good. That you will be okay. Proverbs 28:5 says, evildoers do not understand what is right, but those who seek the Lord understand it fully. We live in a world where people are not seeking the Lord, and I don't know why I thought that a world full of evildoers could get together in a room and decide what the right thing to do was. Yesterday, I thought that was possible, and today I don't understand what I was thinking. I really don't. And you all might have gotten it long before. Fourth reason, man's justice is flawed because mercy is not quantifiable, and therefore we do not mete it out with fairness, which is the supposed basis of our law. I'm losing you a little bit here, but follow me for a minute. If we can stick to a law that we have made, and if we can factually determine that our law has been broken, there may be an opportunity to dispense mercy. Show me where that is all sorts of situations that we think are a miscarriage of justice, because somebody can, well, you know, yes, he did rape and murder 15 people, you know, but he wrote children's books, so he'll only get 3 years. Okay, that's not how mercy works, right? That is a miscarriage of justice there. But how is the system supposed to codify mercy? Because this takes intellectual wisdom, understanding every detail of a scenario, the case, what's going on here, what this person was thinking, the attitude, have they repented, all that stuff. A system of many people is not set up to do this, and this is where this starts getting a little bit important. Our supposedly blind system, okay, our justice is blind. Blind system cannot possibly mete out equal mercy no more than it can equal punishment, right? Because it's the flip side of the coin. That's the way it is. We cannot know the truth every time. We cannot know every truth every time. So in what situation do we have the opportunity to say, you know, this is the case, but I have the authority and the opportunity to provide mercy? As a system, we cannot. Hold the thought, though. God in absolute knowledge and wisdom knows exactly how to mete out punishment and when to mete out mercy. I don't know exactly how he makes a decision one way or the other. He's the one who reads the heart, not I, right? This is important because we cannot rely, again, on the system to mete out the mercy. But we still can as individuals. And the Bible talks a lot about us doing that. So, that doesn't mean I'm in a situation where I can say, sorry, Judge, I'll take it from here. You, and you, mercy. It does mean, however, when an injustice is done to me, I have it in my power to provide mercy if I have the wisdom to know that this is right, whether it's with my children or, we're supposed to forgive our brother, but, where does forgiveness fall in our justice system as a society? I could be missing it, but I don't think it's there. And there's a place for forgiveness where there's a place for justice. So, back to Jeremiah. Babylon or Egypt, God says Babylon, obey, then they say, no, you're lying, we're going to Egypt. 43:1, Jeremiah 43:1. When Jeremiah finished speaking to all the people, all these words of the Lord their God, with which the Lord their God had sent him to them, Azariah son of Hoshea and Johanan son of Kareah, and all the insolent men said, Jeremiah, you are telling a lie. The Lord did not send you. Do not go to Egypt to live there. But Baruch has sent you against us to deliver us into the hand of the Chaldeans, that they may kill or take us into exile. So Johanan son of Kareah and all the commanders of the forces and all the people did not obey the voice of the Lord to remain in the land of Judah. And when I was reading or studying this, I was just shaking in my boots for it. I really was. This became very visual. Just a picture of them kind of standing there shaking their fist after saying that they were going to be obedient. This claim that they would do as God asked, that they would follow his expectations, and then turn around and say, you're lying because you have not told us what we want to hear. It really blows my mind. And I thought about this again today as I was sitting in the courtroom, judge is talking. Not huge, but large, so that the courtroom could see it, and Blaze his head on the wall. In God we trust. This is the room where adopted unions of those kinds are created. Fornicators are told that their behavior is not their fault. I don't think I put down a list here. This was family court and other things go on in there too. How many times within God we trust on that judge's head or another judge's head have they sat there and allowed something evil to happen? I'm shaking my boots because this is no different than what I just read in Jeremiah. It's no different. Here we are claiming, this is what we believe. And then they sit there and say, and here's what justice looks like. And it's nothing. It's nothing like what God created it to look like. And I kind of sat there and my mouth went dry. It just really scared me. I felt like I was sitting a little bit too close to this evil thing that struck it. I might, get hit in the process. It really feels that way. It feels like we're standing there and poking a finger in God's eye. And I was sitting here and expecting that man could perform this thing. And our involvement is somewhat peripheral right now. So it's not like there was any personal affront to me. But I'm watching things happen and I'm aware of some of the situation. I'm like, this is wrong. This is not right. Maybe I'm not the best judge. Who knows? So, we are supposed to be in the world but not of the world. And this thought process has reminded me that we will not experience, or help me learn, we will not experience justice in man's hands, nor legitimate mercy at the hand of the system. If I find myself placing my faith or expectation of justice in the system that man has created, I am in error. And so, if I expect my neighbor to learn of morality or even mercy from our law, I'm in error. It's my job. It's my job because the system fails. Okay? Man props up all these things and they fail. And I walked out of that courtroom disappointed in the system. And I realized I had a faith in the system that I never knew I had. You know, this will solve these things for these people with these issues. And it didn't. And when I say dumpster fire, I'm not kidding. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. And I walked out of there with this hole that had been faith in the system going, what on earth do I do? You know, and that was wrong. That was wrong. It should have never been that way. I don't know how many times I have argued that socialism is not the Christ-like way, because Christ said we're supposed to do these things to the needy, not force our neighbor to hand money to the government so that the government can do these things for the needy, right? I get that. I have never thought to argue that we should be relying on government to tell the world what justice looks like. But it's the exact, it's really the same sort of illustration. Just like the government is not there to show us how to be charitable to our brother. The government is not there to either show us what justice is supposed to look like, what morality looks like, or what mercy looks like. That is, becomes a Christian, the law, to large part, becomes obsolete because there's a greater law that we're following already. So there's all these problems with man-made law. All right, you want to understand some good law? You should be able to watch the way a Christian behaves. They should be able to point that out to you, right? How important it is to let the world see mercy and justice through us. They will not see it walking into that courtroom. I can tell you that. I cannot believe it. Consider the appeals made to the nation of Israel in a wicked world. And I recognize this is to they were to follow at the time, which is imperfect. But for the sake of being a good example of moral behavior to the people around us. Micah 6:8. Listen to what the prophets say. The Lord has told you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and walk humbly with your God? Do justice. O nation, God's people, God is watching you. Show them what justice looks like. They're not going to see it amongst themselves. Isaiah 1:16. Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. This one's amazing because his point here is that you guys are sinning and you need to change. Here's what wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Remove the evil of your deeds from before my eyes and cease to do them. Learn to do good and seek justice. Correct oppression. Bring justice to the fatherless. Plead the widow's cause. It's my job. It's not the government's job. Doesn't mean I can walk in there and say, Judge, come on, stand down. I'm a Christian. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but it means I shouldn't have faith in the system. Zechariah 7 verse 9. Thus says the Lord of hosts, render true judgment, show kindness and mercy to one another. Kind of reminds me of the bringing your brother to court thing that they were dealing with in Corinthians. Look, you all are the ones who are supposed to be just. If you've got to walk into a courtroom and get it solved, you're insane. It never crossed my mind that way before. It really did not. But you are barking up the wrong tree. You are chasing a shadow. Okay, just like it could be wealth, just like it could be immoral pleasures, whatever it might be, if you've got some strange fascination for justice, there's an inappropriate application of that, and that would be to expect that you're going to get it from a bunch of... If you can pull out one man in the world that is unjust, what made me think I could get 40 of them together in a single room and come out ahead? I really don't know what I was thinking. Luke 6:36, be merciful as your Father is merciful. Now the reason he had to say that, one of the reasons he had to say that, is because the world is full of ruthless people. Okay? People will see mercy and recognize it as something different. And if that's the case, when they see it in us, it's because they're not seeing it anywhere else. The system does not provide that for them. And that's where I end. That is the lesson I learned today. Appreciate you all listening. Hope it was encouraging. Thank you.